Hello and welcome to this sprint review meeting for sprint 11.11.2. Today we will be going through the following stories. 2621, which is done for Nationalbanken, our Danish customer. It is our first step in following the GDPR law from the EU that will be enforced the 25th of May 2018. So it's our last chance to do something there. Then we move on to Norway for 2612 archive reference, 2627 accounting assessment, and 2625 import of Gates readings, which were all done for Statsbygg, our Norwegian customer. Then it's 2614 optimized refresh. That is something we were doing to optimize the performance of the system further. 2613 view incidents done for our Norwegian customer CEO. And 2568, lastly but not least, done for Landsnet, our Icelandic customer, additions to equipment. So we begin with 2621 GDPR. So this was the first step in trying to accommodate this new law, because if we will not be able to show something after the 25th of May, we can receive large fines. I've heard up to what, 5 million euros or something if we don't follow this law. So basically it's a law that says that all systems should be able to clear all person identifiable data from their systems. And it's not just the systems, it's also all the whole company should be able to clear this person identifiable data, also for their employees and whatnot. So, but we have been focusing on our system main manager, and we wanted to begin with first by removing person identifiable data in main manager logs. That is, we log everything that the user does, but we wanted to change it so you could not identify the person by reading the logs. We wanted also to map all person identifiable data in the main manager database and mark the data. And also we wanted to make the first version of an action which you could run for one person or many persons that would clear the person identifiable data. It will not delete it, but change it so you will not be able to read from the data which person was basically in the system. So this is from Wikipedia. GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation, and as you can see, it was adopted 27th April 2016. It becomes enforceable 25th of May 2018. So someone can enforce the regulation, and you will receive fines if you cannot answer for that. So first of all, in all our logs, we were locking the person's name into the log, but we were not using the name basically. And we have two logs in the system called main log and action log. Main log holds everything that you do in the system, like opening up a record or whatever, inserting records and so on. Action log holds all actions that you run in the system, so creating work orders or whatever. So what we did, we removed this column just from the database. So we are not locking the user's name into the tables, we are just locking an ID number.
Hilmar,
Yeah.
Can you share your screen?
Yes, sorry, Einar. So you cannot, before you could just open up this log table, and then you could basically read from that log what person did each action. But now you cannot do that because we have just removed this column created by. that was the first step. The second step was we went through the whole database and we identified all person identifiable data. And that can be like a name, that can be an email, that can be a telephone number. And we have a lot of columns that that are like marital status and single parent, siblings in school and smoker, not ordinariness. So we had a lot of columns.
Mission of service report, what's that?
Don't ask me. It's person identifiable. Something that we should not have. So the first step, we went through all these colors. We did not remove them. Maybe we'll do that in the future, but we marked them as personal sensitive. So we can now basically go through the database in our code and we can find all columns that hold data that are person identifiable. So that we have that now basically in version 11.10.
How will we use it?
Yes, that is the next slide. We then made an action called clear person identifiable data. What this action does, it basically goes through all tables and finds these person identifiable columns. It then identifies of what type that column is. If it's a text field, it overrides the value with the name of the text field and then a running number. So Sævar becomes maybe name 11. So everywhere in the system, Sævar will become name 11. So we would not know it's Sævar, but it will still hold the data in the database. So on all work orders, he would become name 11, for example. If it's a number field, we override that with a 0. So we just, if it's a telephone number, for example, it will become 0. Boolean fields are set to false. So if you were a smoker, you will not become a smoker, for example. We then clear data from person identifiable tables, which are person reference, person permit, experience, language, membership, main tab, and private job. So we just clear those tables. And then we clear all records for that particular person in the main log and action log. So if after 25th of May, someone comes to us and says, I want main manager to forget me. Then we can just select that person, run this action, and we hold the data, the work orders and all that intact, but we cannot identify that person anymore. So we can say to him, main manager has forgotten you.
So Sævar is not linked to name 11?
No, not in any way. We basically
so
override.
Randomly choose name 11?
Yeah, if it's a text field, for example, name in organization, which holds Sævar, we just take the name of the column, which is name, input that, and then we have another table that provides us with a running number. So it becomes a unique name or unique value, but we cannot say it's Sævar anymore.
If, for example, Reykjavik, this incident, the citizen sent in something they are not registered in the
Yeah, that is one of the fields. That is contact in incidents, for example.
Yeah.
We would override that with then contact 11 or contact 22.
Can you put a date on this action? Maybe since 2013
Yes.
and backwards.
Yeah, what we will do, because we are studying this law, we are studying what we have to do. This is not the only thing we have to do. We also have to take a look at the business as a whole. We have to take a look at the like our employee contracts and all of those things that falls under this GDPR. One of the things that we can do, we can say run this action like automatically, and then when a person quits or is marked in some way, then after 3 years, this action will run for him. Or
We
something.
will be able to do that.
Yeah.
But we have to define.
We have to define,
For example, we need to know this information for 4 months, 4 years, or whatever, and then we have to explain because of.
Yeah.
In some cases, you have to have it, like in accounting, you have to have this information for a longer time, but you just have to have documentation and explain why.
Yeah.
That's the.
One thing in this law, when you create a new person in the system, maybe he will get automatic email where we tell him, okay,
Yes.
now you are using main manager and we will record this and this and this and this.
Yes.
And
And
that's important also.
yeah, and it's important to say we will record this because.
Yeah. And then the company says, and after you have finished, we will delete everything prior to.
And we can also say in any.
I think that's very important that we have that function.
And also in our contracts with our customers, we have to define why we are using personal identifiable data, how we are using that.
Main managers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But the difference is too, like we have Reykjavik and other clients, but in some cases they are the person who are responsible for the data, not we.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to define. I mean, we have this action, but it could be Reykjavik who is responsible for, deleting it, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what we have to put
But
in the contract.
we have
We
to,
are just, I don't know what you call it in English, vinnsluaðilar, and they are the core data owners or whatever. So we just give them the software.
Yeah.
But
we provide the tool to help them.
Well, we should send a letter to all our customers.
Yeah, we just have
explaining what this.
Yes.
We have a work group, me, Guðrún, and Raggi. We had a meeting with a law firm here in Iceland.
Okay.
So we are working on this, and we will get Indrid also to help us from Capacent. So, but this was the beginning to implement it in the system. And what we can also do, maybe in the future, is because we have mapped all the person-sensitive data, we can now maybe provide a report where our user can go, get a report from a system that says, this is the person identifiable information we have in main manager of you. And because the law firm said that this could also be a selling point for us.
Yes, we can say we can show you personal data.
Yep.
We can say
so we are like a GDPR compliant system.
Yes.
So we can very easily make this action or report. So we'll maybe
try to sell it.
We should do it because maybe we will be the only FM system that is GDPR compliant. And all the big companies, they are now have to follow this law. And all their systems have to follow this law.
Very good.
Yeah. So this was the first step. We did this for National Banken because they are now asking for this.
They have no further demands.
They have a contract that we have to decide that if we want to sign it or not. They have with demands, and one of those demands was we have to be able to clear all person identifiable data for a person. So
we have to sign it. We have to do that.
Yeah, but we have to be.
How we define ourselves? Are we owners or are we delivering the product? And
Are
they
we
are the owners of the data.
Oh, okay.
That's something that we have to get better understanding on.
We have to be careful, at least.
Yes.
Because it's a lot of money if we don't follow this.
We will follow it.
Yeah, and we have started working on it. So this was done in the release. So basically, all systems have been updated with this function. So it's available now. Last maintenance updates.
That's me now. If I go into if I go now into work orders or whatever, I cannot see who did this and logged in and things like that.
Yeah, you can do that, but
because you said you took away the
but we have the reference in the ID to the name. But what we were doing, we were locking the name as well in the lock. But we don't.
That was the first thing.
You
can trace it now. You have to trace it.
You can do that. But if we go into the database, we cannot see the name in the log.
Yes.
we have to then reference the ID to the organization. But we were locking the name. I don't know why. It's just something that was done when we did this. And the comment was just to be safe. Then we locked the name. We were not using it.
Okay.
So are we responsible for deleting this data or the company?
That's what we have to define. But
That's what we are working on defining.
But I would think they would,
Yeah.
the owner of, I mean, the client, customer is responsible.
We
for, I
want
would
to
say.
make the customer responsible because that frees us from the €5 million fine.
We have a lot of contract that says customer owns all data.
Yeah.
So but we have to provide.
We have to provide with the clause in the contract,
Yeah.
so just to be safe. Okay, any questions?
The name was probably locked because we wanted to lock the name that was when the record was added to the log. We wanted to lock the name at that point in time.
No, I don't think so. I think it was done because maybe in the future, I think when we were joining the logs, because it's a very expensive join to organization.
Yeah.
When you're joining, so when you were looking at the log in a list, just to be free of a join.
Yeah, maybe.
That was the idea, but it was joining in the list, so it was not used, basically. So, but we have to be very critical of logs, and all systems have to do that now, because you cannot save the history of the person if he doesn't want to. So, any more questions? No. Then we move on to Norway. Einar.
Yes. To the bedroom in Norway.
Do you have an open webcam?
Maybe. But anyway, 2612, archive reference in purchase orders for Statsbygg in Norway. This was basically continued work. There was another user story, I think, 1 year ago or something that I also did, that added the possibility to have archive reference in purchase orders, and what did then was that we added it to the integration, but we never finished the job. It was not fully implemented. I think because Statsbygg wanted to wait a little, and this user story was basically just to finish the job we started a year ago. So go to the next slide. Here we can see a purchase order that Statsbygg uses, and we can see on the left side that this purchase order is connected to a service contract. And then we see that this red rectangle, there's nothing there. And if you go to the next slide, we have another purchase order that does not have any connection to service contract. Then this archive reference fields appear. And what the user has to do, the user has to fill out something in the archive reference field, or mark it as not relevant. And if the user marks it as not relevant, then the text field will be locked, and the value 0 will go into the text field. And the reason why Statsbygg is doing it, at least if I understand it correctly, is they wanted to be able to have better possibility to kind of how do you put it? Get better overview of all the purchase orders that are not connected to service contracts. So this is just some reference that they use so they can, I don't know, make some reports or something. Yes. And if you go to the next slide, you can see what happens if you check not relevant. The text field is locked and the value 0 is there. Okay.
Okay.
And this value in the archive reference text field will be sent over to StatsBig's purchase order system. Go to the next slide. This was in the release code branch 1110. If you have any more questions, you can ask Gunnlaug Hjartarson. He knows everything about this.
Don't know anything about it. Thank you very much,
Yes.
I think it was fairly clear.
And go to the next slide. And next. Another story for accounting assessment. The acceptance criteria is they wanted a new dimension in task. It's a finance dimension called accounting assessment. They wanted to add this new dimension to forms, list modes, and filters, and only actually in maintenance for maintenance tasks. And the final acceptance criteria is that you should not be able to approve task years unless this financial dimension is filled out. And go to the next slide. So here we can see new maintenance task form for StatsBig. It's basically almost the same as the old form, except this new accounting assessment field. So there's one drop-down field and one text field. And these two fields are required in interface. That means that you have to put in some values in this field if you open up this form. Go to the next slide. You can see that I added a new column to the two list modes that StatsBig uses in maintenance, task planning and management. Go to the next slide. It's not possible to group on this dimension. Go to the next slide. I also added it to the filters in the task planning and annual plan process steps. Next slide. And then I added a new setting to global settings or main processes because I thought we needed a new setting. And if this is true, that means that you cannot send task year into task management unless these dimensions have been filled out. Go to the next slide. So here's just one example. I was trying to send one task year into the annual plan, and you get a fail message that for this task the accounting assessment dimension is missing. Yes. Again, it was done in the release code branch 1110, and again, Gunnlaug Hjartarson has answers to all of the questions that you have.
I will do that.
Gunnlaug, can you explain what accounting assessment is?
I can try to explain a little bit.
No, Gunnlaug, can you?
Somebody has to approve it before.
Again, this is
do a many-year plan before somebody approves it.
That is
it's a budget control issue.
Is it the right explanation, Einar?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And finally, 2625 import of Gates greetings. So we already had this integration that StatsBig calls X0052 Insamlingsdata that imports Gates greetings from automatic gauges that StatsBig has. But before, the integration works like that. You get a huge file of XML file with many readings for many gauges. But the problem was that just one of the gauges that you get in XML does not exist in the main manager. Then just the whole import will fail. So I changed the import. I'll go to the next slide. So this is how it was before. So on the left side you see an example of a message. You have gates X that has 3 readings and gates Y that has 3 readings and so on. But in this example, gates Y does not exist in main manager. And the result was that we didn't import any readings. Which was, not so good. Next slide. No, go back on. So I changed the import so it works like this. I just check every single gate. If the gates exist in main manager, then I import the readings. If the gates does not exist, then I just give a failure message just for that gate. So all the readings will be imported if and only if the gates exist in main manager. Go to the next slide. And here we see one example of an XML message that we got that had some gates that were not found. Then you can just see there on the right side that the gates was not found for these meter point numbers or gates numbers. But if there were some readings on gates that did or do exist in main manager, then we import all the readings for those gates. Again?
Yeah, we can skip that one. Questions? Okay. Thank you, Einar.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to 2614, optimized refresh. Guðjón.
Okay. So, as you probably know, in our system, when we are, for example, opening a window, and from that window we are opening another window, and we save that window. Then we refresh the parent window, starts refreshing, you know, and we also refresh the list behind it, the main parent window. So we were always refreshing every parent when we were saving something. So in this story we were trying to optimize this a little bit to make the system feel a little bit more responsive. Not responsible.
GDPR.
Yeah. Okay, so just a very simple acceptance criteria to optimize the parent refresh logic in our system. So for this to work, we have made a new setting called optimized refresh, and you can access these settings through the performance settings window. Okay, just to try to explain what we did here. Like for example, when we have a window and you all know the save and close button. So in that scenario, we only refresh the parent if something was actually changed. So if you do not do anything and click the button, it will not refresh the parent because nothing was changed. What we also do here is that we mark the parent window as changed. We do not refresh every ancestor of the window. So for example, if we have we open a window from the main list, we open another window, we save that. Then we refresh the parent window because that window might have some data that will be updated because of the child window. But we do not refresh the main list. We on the other hand mark the parent window as changed. So for example, when we close the window, we know that it holds some data that might have been changed, and then we have to refresh the main parent window. So that is actually the third scenario here in the close window. If the window has been marked as changed, then we refresh its parent. but we do not do it all at the same time. So the user has the feeling that everything is refreshing, it's slow.
Yes, it's also a very big issue at Statsbygg, for example, in the purchase order process. They are opening a window, then opening up the purchase order window, doing something there, then it refreshes all the time the web, and it takes about 5 seconds to refresh.
Yeah.
And then they have to refresh the window, and then the purchase order. And this is one of the biggest performance issues in Statsbygg, for example.
So it's to bypass the refresh of the whole list, which can be very big, and it can have a lot of effect on how the user views the system. And also the second scenario is when you're saving and continuing, or saving and making a new record, then we do not refresh the panel, but we mark the windows changed, or we do not refresh the panel. We mark it, so it kind of acts like before, but we mark it so when we actually close it, then we refresh it. So it's kind of like delaying the whole refresh, so it doesn't happen every time. So this is basically what has been done, and I hope that this will make a difference for users, especially like for Statsbygg, which can have large lists that can take a lot of time to load up. This was done in the release branch, and you can test this out. This should be in the newest maintenance release, so just check the setting and test this out.
Why is this a set? Why is not just a
Everybody has this setting, isn't it?
Yeah, because like we do in these performance settings, we want to test the thing out first.
Yeah.
So we will activate it on service, for example, and then let it run for one maintenance release. And if nothing comes up, then we remove the setting and it becomes default.
Okay.
Just like we did with the Windows, like the child. That is now just default. So
Yeah.
there's no setting for that now.
So
It's
we
just
don't
to
have
be
do
on the
anything.
safe
So
side.
we don't go into our customers and
You can do it if you want to,
Can
but
do it.
it's on your own. It's on your own responsibility.
yes, but it's not how you think we should do it. Just
I think we
organize it
should.
and then it will be
I think we should
general.
activate it in service
service.
and maybe
Yes.
one customer. I mean, there's nothing that is dangerous about this.
There is this
Performance settings.
settings.
The only thing that can happen is you register something and it doesn't come up in the list. So if you just push refresh, it comes up.
Yeah.
So that is the only dangerous part here.
It will not be harmful to any data.
No,
Not
should
lose
not.
data or something like that.
It can be dangerous if we are sending main record values between windows.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the parent window should then have refreshed.
Yeah, so just to be on the safe side, we should maybe test this
Wait a minute.
inside and just get a feeling for this, and if some issues come up.
Yeah, I think when Statsbygg starts testing our next release, I think I will turn this on.
Yeah.
And we'll see if there are some problems, then I can just turn this off.
I mean, Statsbygg should see a lot of improvements in performance because of the windows and because of this. And I think we should take it up with Statsbygg.
Yeah.
Because we have an ongoing project with them.
Yeah.
Just to show them a difference.
Yes, very important.
Yep.
Okay, any more questions?
Very good. It's ongoing process to do something?
We are trying to have one performance story in each
Very
sprint.
good.
We are trying. So we are doing the things that take the minimal time but the biggest performance gains, basically. That is the things we are doing now. And these 2 stories that we have done is a lot of help in this area. And now the most important story.
Yeah, next story is 2613s. 13s, yeah. This was done for CEO. To be able to view incidents and work orders under my organization.
Was this like a make or break story for main manager?
No, this is a general story.
No, this was a story that the whole project was depending on.
And it came too late.
Okay, a simple acceptance criteria. Make it possible for a user to see incidents and work orders that are registered on his organization and underlying organizations.
So this is a good story. It's a general story.
Yeah, this can be used
in
general if somebody wants to.
Okay, I'm trying to fix it.
Okay, we have a new setting on a user role.
Two new settings.
See work orders on my organization and below, and see incidents on my organization and below.
We should also note the 7 new settings that came one night.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue, yes.
This is a 13 setting sprint.
Yeah. But you received an email about these new settings from Guðmundur.
We do not have a PowerPoint.
We have to present this.
Yes. Yeah, so basically what the story is about and what these settings do is these new settings will change the filtering when you're viewing incidents and the work orders so that you can see all records registered on your organization and below. So that's all there is to this story.
Maybe I should explain a little bit.
Yes.
Like the system was, if you were external service provider, and then you could see every work order everywhere. If we had chosen in the filter, nothing selected. If the service provider had organization structure, just in that case. So it was a little bit, so it's a general good.
Yeah. Exactly. This was done also in the release code branch. Yeah, just some general information. Questions?
Very good.
Very good. Then we move on to Landsnet, the only Icelandic story.
Yes,
in this sprint.
Some additions to equipment. So equipment can be registered to Square and want that shown in the equipment forms. Populate some fields according to the Square in instruction forms and be able to group by this Square thing in equipment transactions, tasks, requests and incidents, and also in the statistic reports for the same things and in charts.
Can you explain Square? What
Square is something,
that concept?
Yes. In Icelandic it's reitur.
So it's a location.
Yeah, it's like a...
Sorry?
Kind of.
Yeah, it's like a grouping of equipment within a power station.
In the
so you have a power station.
Substation, you have squares.
Yeah.
I built some of them.
Yeah.
And okay, so you are grouping them in a square.
Yeah, and then you have something they call HV equipment, which is equipment within a power station. And they now can register a square on those equipments and can now see only equipments that are within that square.
That square, yeah. And that's linked to the
CalcOS.
CalcOS, yeah. Okay.
So you create, there is an action in the system where you create squares from CalcOS.
Okay.
This is also a general story for all our customers.
If they use CocoaS.
Yeah, if they use CocoaS squares and power stations. And HV equipment.
We also want to be able to filter by that square in equipment filters and in inspection fill-outs. So this is the equipment form. Square is automatically filled out according to the KKS. And here in what are these forms?
It's task inspection and request inspection.
Yeah. So here the KKS keys are filled out according to the square. Yeah. So you want to be able to group by the square in all of these modules. This is equipment here, transactions here, task planning, and also request incidents. And the same for the report. So this is the work order statistic report, and the same thing for incidents and tasks, which there were no tasks.
Transactions. Yeah, task. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the transaction thing. And also charts for work orders and incidents.
Did you get any help from Gummi there?
No.
Elizabeth? No. Wow, then you are very good.
Actually, Elizabeth did this all on her own. So very good job.
It's just a task to understand CocoaS.
Yeah.
Everything there.
Not as much understanding required as maybe.
Elizabeth, can you describe KKS in 2 sentences?
No, I can't.
It's very old German coding system with every information in it. It's very strange.
Yeah, some kind of identification, something for equipment or whatever.
And everything, and the logic in the sequence.
Have we not looked into other countries that could use this solution?
I was thinking about Statnet in Norway.
Yeah, why not? And in Denmark.
They are waiting.
No, we have like a very sophisticated solution.
Very sophisticated for this.
That only one customer is using.
Yeah. So we haven't had time. Meet Statnet.
Maybe this is our golden goose.
Maybe this is. And Elizabeth, are you ready to move to Norway and sell it to?
Yes, definitely. So here's some numbers and letters and stuff. Filter by that. As you can see, there's the same numbers and letters and stuff here as in the filter.
Yeah, that's basically how Gulli sells the system.
Very fancy and something.
Yeah, we have some data, we have some filter.
Filter number 1 and number 2, it's all very nice.
Yeah.
Don't be square.
Don't be square.
Spider-Man.
Very hip. So this is the inspection
it's hip to be
filter, in which you filter the list.
This is actually my favorite icon in main manager. This headphones icon. This bar, what we call it, we put on your ears when it's cold outside.
It's lovely.
No, it's like it's electric headphones.
You know the helmet in the work order?
It was a turtle for me at the beginning.
It was a cat house. You mean the cat house? It was a helmet.
Cat house.
We called it Skjaldbøkan.
Very good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the square can filter the list and also filters the object in the filter. So there's an undefined anonymous person can answer your questions?
It's according to
GDPR.
It's me. I'm the
It would be Guðrún.
I'm the
Yeah, Guðrún.
yes.
We have to mention that Ragnar
We had a meeting.
had a meeting with
Me,
Landsnet
Raggi.
to define this.
Yeah.
And then I asked him, okay, can you explain the story for us? No, I don't understand anything. So he didn't understand anything after the meeting.
Gummi was on the meeting too.
Okay.
Yeah, fortunately.
We planned it.
Otherwise, we had to have another meeting.
To
We wrote
prepare,
down a lot of things.
Yeah, he wrote down a lot of things and then just, I have nothing. We have to take a look at
Actually,
I did
it
the
was
story
in
and I don't
December and
understand.
now in March. I think he also forgot something.
it.
It's very special.
Yeah.
But they started this for 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Think about that, 98. Very good.
I think you should talk to Stat.
Yeah, we
What's the
should.
name?
Yeah, and it's in the process, believe it or not.
And also in Denmark and in England.
So, were there questions?
Yes, they have cars.
What is conference?
I don't know.
Some code system.
There's a code system.
German.
For electrical equipment,
It's like SFP.
and it's it's more logical. It's German. German.
Yeah.
You can see in the code where in the logical process
Yeah.
you are. So it's a lot of things that the information in the code. Location, where in the process you are, and so on.
Would be logical.
Very special.
Yeah, maybe some Icelandic customers could use it.
But it's an old one, before computer technology.
Yeah.
Because we will identify with no information. It's a lot of information. So if you have to change something, you have to change the whole logic.
Yeah.
So that's the.
So this is like identification.
Never change a running system, he said.
You are changing it
It's
now.
just identification of equipment, basically.
And the process and the location. All in one code. And it's a big code.
Just like in Landsbygden.
What code?
Okay.
What code do they use?
They use it's a sharing they use for to the location. It's not electricity, but it's for the building.
And
You know, are you talking about the English codes?
112.
No, I don't know.
What Landsbygden? 112.
112.
Thank you.
Thank you for this meeting.